Okay everyone, Tuesday morning and a few interesting things happening relating to Celtic today that we can discuss. I'm not going to keep you too long though, I know you're busy. Let's do it. One thing very quickly though, 15,000 subscribers, still trying to get there. If you're watching this and aren't subscribed yet, what's going on with you? Go and click that button, you know you want to. Okay, Jota has posted on Instagram something he likes to do a fair bit. We know that he's been ruled out for between 6 and 9 months. We've heard from Brendan Rodgers on this. He's saying Jota is pretty philosophical about the whole thing. And I think it's fair to say that comes through in this Instagram post that I'm going to read, where Jota says, "So, just passing by to let yous know from myself. Obviously pretty shitty and all of that stuff, but the amount of crazy worse things that could have happened is huge, right? I've made my professional debut about 10 years ago. I believe now this being life whistling for the career halftime break and giving me this deep inner breath to get me ready for the second half of this ride. And man, how exciting it'll be. I'll now retreat, allow the wounds to naturally heal, and give me the opportunity to embrace the growth that only stillness and pain can teach. Things are about to slow down, and as a good friend once told me, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. See you very soon on the pitch. Love you all." I could feel parts of my personality just leaving my body reading that out. I don't know, some may refer to that kind of thing as birthday cared pish. I'm not going to go that far. You know, if Jota feels he needs this kind of inspiration to keep him going at his darkest time, and let's be honest, let's be frank, it's a pretty dark time for him, missing such a long period of time when he's never really had an injury, anything like this. So if that's the way he's going to deal with it and be pretty philosophical, I'm absolutely fine with that. It's an interesting way to look at it, the fact that he's had a 10-year career so far, and he maybe feels it's about half-time in his career. And now he's got a bit of time to potentially look at how his career's gone so far. But I think more importantly, look forward with Celtic. So yeah, it's just a long time he's going to be missing for. I mean, like, best case scenario, you're looking at him being back November. That's a fair amount of time away. By that stage, we'll be well into our European campaign next season, whether that's the Champions League, hopefully, or the Europa League. And we'll just be like kicking off that next season's ultra marathon at that stage. So Jota coming back then might be like a new signing, but that's not giving the Celtic board any ideas. They clearly need to sign a winger this summer. That's something Brendan Rodgers has said out right now. We're probably going to sign one anyway, but certainly now Jota's missing, we're absolutely going to have to. So yeah, all the best, Jota. Recover well, think well. Just don't listen to me, basically. Okay, most interesting story I think that happened yesterday. It's a transfer one that may be a fair bit surprising to begin with, but then when I give you the full details, probably will make a bit more sense. Stephen McGlynn in the Herald saying we're considering a move for Aberdeen goalkeeper Ross Doohan this summer. He's a former Celtic Academy player who came through with us, never actually played a match, certainly didn't play a competitive match for us, and left for Tranmere Rovers in 2022. He returned to Scotland with Aberdeen at the start of last season, signed a 2-year deal. So he's approaching the final weeks of that 2-year deal and is available on a free transfer this summer. And it seems like Celtic are very keen to bring him in. The big question you might have right now is, why? Because you look at what we've got, and clearly Kasper Schmeichel's going to be our number one, and Vil Sinizalo looks pretty good, and the plan is for him to be the future number one. And I would love to see Sinizalo get the cup competitions next season. Just give him every match in the Scottish Cup, give him every match in the League Cup, including at Hampden. I think he's already proven with his performance on Sunday that he can handle the big occasion. And then potentially season after that, he becomes our number one goalkeeper. We've got Scott Bain there as well, so why are we looking at Ross Doohan? Well, I think the reason is that Scott Bain is potentially going to leave us this summer. Now, his contract is up at the end of next season, so he's got just over 12 months left on his deal. 33 years old, and I think the chat is that he would like to go out and play regular football somewhere, which I don't blame him for personally. He probably realises he's maybe not got too many years left, and Scott Bain's a pretty handy goalkeeper at Scottish football level. So it seems like he's going to leave. And Scott Bain is quite handy because he ticks one of those wonderful homegrown boxes in UEFA squads coming through at Aberdeen a number of years ago. And you need 8 of them in every European squad. Let's just quickly visit this because it's something you maybe hear from time to time, but you don't ever actually know what precisely is going on with these European squads. So basically you get 2 different lists you can name. You get an A list and a B list. A B list is for like young players basically. You don't tend to see any of them really ever feature for the first team at European level. It's all about the A list, where you can name up to 25 players, but 8 of them have to be homegrown players, and 4 of those 8 have to be specifically club homegrown players, so they have to have come through the Celtic Academy. And whoever's left to make up the 8 can be nationally or association trained players, so they just have to have come through another Scottish team's academy. So I took a look earlier on at the most recent European squad we named, and it was for the 2 legs against Bayern Munich. And I was a little bit surprised to learn that we actually only named 23 players in our A list. And obviously, as I say, you should be able to name up to 25. But I took a bit of a deeper look at it, and it's no coincidence that we only named 23. The reason we only were able to name 23 players in that list is because we only were able to name 6 homegrown players. As I say, you're meant to name 8. If you fall short of that, then the number you fall short by, so in our case 2, because we're only able to name 6, is taken away from your overall 25. I guess, I don't know if punishment is the right word, but maybe some sort of deterrent to stop you just naming a fully foreign squad with no kind of association or club trained players. So yeah, we only managed to name 6 homegrown players in that squad for the Bayern Munich clash. 3 of them were club trained, probably name them yourself: Anthony Ralston, Callum McGregor, James Forrest. We then had 3 association trained: Scott Bain, Greg Taylor and Luke McCowan. But that was it. Like, Stephen Welsh isn't there anymore. David Turnbull would have been one in previous years. These players have kind of moved on. And as I say, if you only name 6 homegrown players, then you can only name a full squad of 23 players. So I was kind of thinking, how much of an issue is this actually? Because it's so much is made of this homegrown stuff, and you have to absolutely get that quota up. But the reality is you don't. Like, if you do fall short, then it just means you lose a couple of the players from your full squad. And it's not as if we had to leave anyone major out for the Bayern Munich tie. But clearly Celtic will look at it, and maybe it's okay for 2 legs against Bayern Munich, but if you're talking like 8 games in the league phase, you want that squad to be as large as it possibly can be. Kieran Tierney will obviously help this when he rejoins us in the summer, although I guess conversely Greg Taylor could be leaving the club, so that would kind of bring us back. Stephen Welsh, I don't know what Stephen Welsh's plans are. He's certainly out on loan at the moment, going to return for us in the summer. Could he be back in the squad next year, or does he see his future away from Celtic? So yeah, just going back to Ross Doohan, if Scott Bain is going to leave the club, then we're going to be short a homegrown player, and I think it makes a fair bit of sense to bring Ross Doohan in. And yeah, I mean, it's hardly the most exciting signing we've ever made. Don't even know if he'd get a sign-in press conference or anything like that. Would probably be unlikely to ever actually see him play a competitive game for the squad, but it'd be nice to know that he's there. So yeah, that's that story. Elsewhere, a bit of an Aberdeen theme to today's video, but the Dons have announced that they've sold out their allocation of over 20,000 tickets for the Scottish Cup final, and they've done it in a matter of hours. Remember, they basically bought all the tickets from the SFA and agreed to underwrite the costs of any tickets that weren't sold, so they were probably a little bit worried about that, but rallying call to the Aberdeen support has been taken up, and as I say, they've sold over 20,000 tickets for the final. I believe they're going to have up to the halfway line of the North Stand at the National Stadium, so it will be like a 50-50 split, although not quite, because I do think we should have most of, if not all of, the top tier of the South Stand. So there should still be far more Celtic fans in the stadium than Aberdeen, but I think it will feel like a bit of a 50-50 split in the final, and personally I think that's always something I want to see from a cup final. I don't know if it's totally fair on some Celtic fans who have been going to loads of games and are going to miss this one, whereas maybe if you're an Aberdeen fan, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to get a ticket. My take on that would be that it's maybe just one of the drawbacks of the price we pay for supporting a bigger club with a larger fan base. But I'm glad Aberdeen are going to have a big support. I can't wait for that game. I think it's going to be a great end to the season, and hopefully it finishes with us lifting another treble. Should just say, and you're probably wondering this, not even a word from Celtic yet about ticket sales for the Scottish Cup final. I guess less of an issue with us. Clearly we're going to sell out all of our tickets pretty easily, probably about 25,000 allocation or something like that. So I'm guessing we're going to hear pretty soon from the club, because the game is like just over 2 weeks away. And it's going to be all digital again on the Hampden app. So if you enjoyed that for the St Johnstone semi-final, you've got it again for the final. Just a few comments to finish before I go. PFA Scotland Manager of the Year, John McGlynn, has revealed how Brendan Rodgers sent him a congratulatory text after Falkirk returned to the Premiership on Friday night. McGlynn worked under Brendan Rodgers at Celtic a number of years ago. He said, "I got a really nice text from him on Friday evening, but I got about 300 texts over the weekend. It's crazy, absolutely bonkers. He's very supportive, he's a great guy, and I learned so much from him." Now, McGlynn, on playing us earlier in the season, he said, "We got a lot of compliments from Celtic, from Brendan, from Celtic fans, which meant a hell of a lot. They've backed us all season because they wanted us to be in the Premiership. I think we'll add to the Premiership and be a good addition to the Premiership." I do hope that when we play them next season that they show the same level of ambition and expansive football, because that cup tie against Falkirk was great to see a lower league team arrive at Celtic Park when we'd been so dominant at the start of the season. I think we'd just beaten Bratislava, hadn't we, 5-1? Was it the next game? I think it was. And Falkirk turned up and gave us a really good game. Did they lead the game twice? I think they did. I'm trying to remember. Clearly it was such a memorable game for me, but it genuinely was a good game, and I hope when we play Falkirk, be it at the Falkirk Stadium or at Celtic Park next season, that they show the same level of ambition, because it will make for 3 or even 4 really good games. The other story, just briefly, Daizen Maeda says he plans on staying in Scotland until the end of the season and not travelling back to Japan for the birth of his 3rd child. He was there last week, and speaking about that trip, he said, "I was expecting my baby to be born in Japan, but still he hasn't been born yet. So it was a bit difficult with the travel and everything, but the manager used me against Rangers and I was grateful for his trust. It was a difficult trip this time because of the time difference and all the travel. It took a lot for me to go back and forth." Yeah, a busy old time for Daizen, between playing matches, being literally at the other side of the world. Like, Japan isn't just across the border from Scotland. I think it's like 14, 15, 16 hour flight, something like that. I guess he'd be doing it in first class probably, so that makes it a little bit easier for him. But still a pretty frantic time between that, playing matches, winning virtually every award under the sun. So yeah, Daizen's decision, and hopefully everything goes well for his wife, and the kid is finally born, certainly taking his time. But that's the mark of a good kid, I guess. Not my strong point, this kind of stuff. I'll stick to football and continue that stuff tomorrow. Looking forward to the weekend and potentially seeing a few different things going on. Pressure relieved to an extent. Not that we've had too much pressure on us in the league all season, to be honest, but final 3 games of the season, looking forward to that, and then that big cup final at the end. So still plenty to sort out. As I say, I won't take up any more of your time. Enjoy your Tuesday. I'll chat to you tomorrow.